What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Preview Show. We got a 12-game monster here to kick us off on a Monday. Henry had your playbook out nice and early, and now we're here to break it all down, answer your questions, get you ready for tonight's DraftKings Main Slate. Henry, how we doing, man?
Doing great. Yeah. Awesome 12-game slate. I feel like Mondays are normally the, smaller slates usually. It can be a travel day, but yeah, we had 12 games on a Monday is awesome.
Yeah, 12 games on a Monday. Some pitchers that we've seen lately, some pitchers that are running back in some matchups that we've seen lately. It should be a pretty fun one to break down. When you have 12 games, obviously you have a large player pool, and the way you go about your roster construction tonight can certainly vary. You'll see some lower rostership on certain players, and these are one of the slates that we talk like, you're not going to be able to fit every favorite stack in your lineup. Maybe you make a couple of them, but identifying which ones we're going to be keying in as our core stacks today is certainly going to be a big part of today's show. Just dropped in Harry's playbook into the chat, so you can go ahead and check that out for today if you are a Fantasy Alarm member. If you're not a Fantasy Alarm member, you can go ahead, go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Use promo code Let's Go. You'll get a discount off your first month there in our monthly subscription. If you want to hang out with us for a year, you get 40% off the monthly price. You sign up for the annual subscription. Again, you go to fantasyalarm.com/win to check all of that out there today. And we appreciate you all tuning in. If you haven't already hit that like button, it's a free way to support what we do here on the Fantasy Alarm channel. Since we got 12 games here, Henry, let's just waste no time. We'll dive into it. You did the playbook here today. We're taking a look at pitching. We got Yamamoto up at top of 10-5 matchup against the Giants. Reynaldo Lopez at home against the Cubs. Shota Imanaga opposite of him going up against Atlanta. Mitch Keller, $9,200 against the Brewers. And George Kirby at home against Kansas City. That's your 9K and above tier of starters. Which direction are we going here today?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I have some, updates to make to my playbook after we're done here because it's kind of shifted a little bit. When I looked at things this morning, Yamamoto wasn't originally slotted in. They were looking at Gavin Stone being the starter.
Right.
And also, there was, Truist Park, the rain looked pretty bad between Chicago and Atlanta. And so I was kind of avoiding that altogether. But now things have kind of cleared up, and it looks like the rain's not going to hit until real late tonight. And that's less of a worry. So originally I was kind of just passing on all of that top right there, but now I got to rethink things. And I actually do like Yamamoto and Imanaga in these spots.
Yeah, I think both of them are in pretty interesting situations here. Now you look at the Atlanta Braves lineup and you're hesitant at times to go ahead and attack them. But, if you do look at their lineup outside of, Marcell Ozuna, there's definitely been some holes in guys off the slower starts. Austin Riley left yesterday's game, with side tightness. We don't know if he's going to be in the lineup. We know Acuna's not necessarily firing at all cylinders. We know Matt Olson's been struggling here. So there could be some value going with Shota there in a spot where maybe you wouldn't normally look to target him. George Kirby's actually drawing, at least for now, in the most recent update, the highest rostership on this slate, the starting pitcher position at almost 24% over on DraftKings. What's your take on that matchup for him against Kansas City?
Yeah, I actually like it. Kansas City does not strike out a lot against right-handers. So I could see some trepidation of George Kirby has not gotten a lot of strikeouts the last two games either. And then Kansas City doesn't strike out a lot, but they're not scary against right-handers either. It's not like they're doing damage. They're just not striking out a ton. And look, we're still only 2 starts removed from George Kirby piling up 12 strikeouts. Even against a team that doesn't strike out a ton, if George Kirby is on top of his game, he could still against the Royals pile up a good 7-8 strikeouts. That's in the realm of possibility for sure. And even without it, we just know he has that upside of even if he only gets 5 strikeouts,
right,
he could still be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate with that because he can put it together just such a great game even without the strikeouts. So yeah, I like George Kirby here. Not afraid of going with him against the Royals at all.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's a little bit interesting. Obviously, again, it's a lineup where you kind of roll through it. Bobby Witt, big threat. If you can kind of avoid Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez is having a monster season. That one actually kind of snuck up on me doing the pre-show yesterday. He got hot, really hot lately, and now that batting average and power is there. So certainly adds a little bit more to that lineup. But, we've been up and down. Michael Massey got hot. He got cold. MJ Melendez feels like he's been cold almost all season. Michael Garcia got super hot, starting to come back down. So this is definitely a lineup that I think you can target, and people are going to Kirby in this spot at 9K. Where are you going in the mid tier? I looked at your playbook here today. I got a guy that I'm looking at just for some recency numbers here, but where are some of your favorite mid tier pitchers today?
Like, I'm sticking with my guy Cutter Crawford. I just really like Cutter Crawford stuff. He's been so steady this season. Like, it's not like we've seen any giant upside. Like, it seems like he goes out and throws 6 strikeouts every game. Like, right. We haven't seen the giant, like, okay, he comes out and gets 10 strikeouts or anything. But the consistency of going out, throwing about 6 innings, only giving up like a run or 2 at most, and getting 6 strikeouts every game is great. And I think the Rays like offer some potential for him to have one of those bigger games. Like their bats have livened up a little bit recently, but like they can still strike out a ton. Right. And so like I really see the potential here of Cutter Crawford of most likely at least still giving us the same thing where he goes out, gets a quality start, about 6 strikeouts and great outing. But I think there's extra upside with it as well.
Yeah, one of the few times you might talk a little win equity with the Red Sox. You know, their lineup against righties lately, it was actually been a little bit better. We know the lefty matchups, obviously they strike out a ton, but they're at home, which always gives them their offense a little bit more of a boost. You know, Eflin has certainly had its ups and downs lately. Mm-hmm. And yeah, listen, Cutter Crawford, if you had any questions, he went into Atlanta, held them to 2 runs over 6 innings and struck out 6. You know, again, I know that lineup is certainly not what we think it could be by year's end right now, but a lot of tough bats in that lineup, and he shut them down.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, Atlanta's still scary no matter what. Like, so, Agreed. Yeah, anyone who goes in and shuts down Atlanta, you still have to understand that means something.
So someone that I'm looking at here that's not in your write-up section, taking a look quickly at he is in your player pool, though, so we're not completely fading him in your playbook, and that's Christopher Sanchez. Mm-hmm. The numbers for the New York Mets over the last 2 weeks against left-handed pitching, they're almost dead last in every category. Dead last in WOBA, dead last in batting average. I think they were 27th in ISO, and they had almost a 30% strikeout rate. Now, seasonally, their numbers look a little bit better against left-handed pitching. They have guys like Pete Alonso. They obviously have Francisco Lindor, guys that can hit lefties a little bit better. But recently, over the last 2 weeks, they're not touching left-handed pitching. You and I both consider Sanchez to be a pretty decent southpaw here. He's not, you look at his sabermetric numbers, they don't blow you off the page, but they're not really showing a ton of regression signs here either. Now, he's pitched much better at home than he has on the road. This is a road start for him. But I think there's a chance for him to get the win here today. And I like just sort of, again, the recency matchup here for Sanchez. You're getting him at under $8,000. I'm willing to throw the dart here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, he didn't make my favorites, but he's still in my player pool because he's someone that like I almost took, but there's just like a few concerns of obviously we had that 5 innings against the Angels where he only struck out 1, and like against the Angels, he only struck out 1. Right. Like, and his last outing against Toronto was solid, like 7 innings, but only 5 strikeouts. Like I think he has the upside for more, but obviously he's been a little more shaky lately. Mets could be a good matchup here for him to like bounce back and have a big game. So I like it. Absolutely would put him into a lineup. He just like didn't quite make the cut for a guy that I'm like super excited about and was riding up today.
For sure. Again, super small sample size as always when you're doing like last 2 weeks, but 29.8% strikeout rate. They're hitting just 111, but he's 056 ISO against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks, 192 WOBA. So again, just as bad as it can be, basically statistically, splits wise here. So I'm willing to throw Sanchez in some lineups. My underdog plays today, I took the over 17.5 outs. He's gone 6 innings in 3 of the last 5. So we just need the 6-inning stint here for Sanchez. So I liked him in the mid tier. Where else are you looking to go today?
I also like just a little farther down Jordan Montgomery. I think he's one that a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be going after because like this is the same opponent twice in a row, and his last time out he only struck out 2, and like so far his max strikeouts is 4. But like we know that Jordan Montgomery can strike out more than this. He's still ramping up. This will only be his 5th start of the season. But even with the 2 strikeouts last outing, he still went 7 innings and only gave up 2 earned runs. And I do think like this Reds lineup, especially against lefties, like they're not scary right now. The biggest bat is Elly De La Cruz, who is mostly crushing righties, struggles a little more against lefties. Like they're just not a lineup that scares me a whole lot right here. And I think that he has the potential to getting more comfortable and having a team he just shut down pretty well. Like maybe we get some more strikeouts. I think go out and get a similar line, but actually get us to that like 5-6 strikeouts at least today.
Yeah, I think the lack of strikeouts will keep people off him because, like you said, no more than 4 yet in any outing. But this has been sort of an atypical strikeout for him here in terms of what we've seen in the past. He's never been a guy that lights up the strikeouts, but he's definitely more than this for sure. Our guy Justin in the chat bringing up Trevor Williams. Mark asked me about it on the pre-show. You and I had talked Trevor Williams maybe a few starts prior. He's still doing it though. They're just not getting any hard contact off of him. Now he's got the White Sox here. Maybe a rare situation where Washington has some potential win equity. Chris Flexen's on the other side of this matchup. We don't think all too highly of him here. My lone concern with Trevor Williams is the pitch count. They don't really let the guy go too deep in these games. He went 91 pitches on opening day, hasn't thrown more than 80 in any start since here. $7,300, Trevor Williams. What are your thoughts on this one?
Honestly, my only concern is the weather. The weather is not looking good in Chicago right now. Like it's thunderstorms, a lot of rain. Like I'm really worried of this one getting postponed, or like what if they start and then stops? Like if it weren't for that, I think I would be okay with going Trevor Williams here. Like he has looked really good. Like he's actually getting strikeouts too. And like if you've watched him pitching, like it doesn't look fluky. Like his pitching looks good. Like his stuff looks nasty, and he's like getting the swings and misses. Like maybe it won't last forever, but it doesn't look bad. Like I think he can continue to get results if he can continue to go out and be pitching the quality that he has been. Yeah. But the weather just looks so bad that I don't think I want to test it today.
Yeah, when you get a guy that obviously doesn't strike out a lot, you need him to sort of get those outs. He's yet to allow a home run.
Yeah.
There's going to be he had a 2.1 homers per 9 last year. He's allowed none this year. So like the day is coming. I don't know if the day is coming today though, right? Against the White Sox. And you mentioned even the weather is a concern here. But Baltimore shuts them out. Texas shuts them out. Houston held them to 1 run. He's going through some tough lineups here and coming out of it unscathed. So we've seen guys just limit hard contact time and time again. What's your value pitcher for today?
My top value pitcher is going to be Jose Soriano. I think he's probably the most talented pitcher on that Angels team. Granted, that bar is not very high, but like he has a really good fastball. Like his stuff looks really good, and we've already seen some of this strikeout upside that he has. And this Cardinals offense right now is bad. Like they are just struggling. Like Goldschmidt continues to not put anything together. And with Wilson Contreras getting hurt, like that's another big bat that's out. Like, again, they're not a rollover offense still. Like I think they still have some really good hitters. And I don't think they'll continue to be this terrible. But right now, they've looked pretty bad. And I just think that Soriano does provide some pretty good upside here as a guy who can get some strikeouts.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, last time out against Pittsburgh, he was actually rolling in that one. I had a little bit of I had an ice cream wager bet with Howard. I had Gavin Stone. He had Jose Soriano, and through like 3 innings or so, he was out there just dealing against Pittsburgh. And then the wheels came off, and luckily Gavin Stone pitched as well as I had hoped, and I was able to catch that ice cream bet with him. But yeah, I'm willing to run it back with Soriano here. The Cardinals lineup, name value great. Talent-wise, hit or miss for a lot of this season. So I'm cool, certainly with that one. Angelo saying he likes Ronaldo Lopez and Montgomery. Also looking at Singer today. Singer obviously has the Mariners matchup. Strikeout upside, given who they're playing. Do you trust Brady Singer here today? He's $8,800.
I still wish Brady Singer was cheaper. I don't know why he keeps coming in this is better. This isn't the well over
$9,800 against Detroit,
which is crazy. Yeah. And so he just continues to pitch well. We've seen some high strikeout games this season, and now the Seattle Mariners strike out more than anyone. So again, there's other guys I like better just because I think that they're safer and have higher upside than Brady Singer does. But I don't think it's crazy if you want to go to Brady Singer because you can take almost anyone against the Mariners and get a decent outing with, high strikeouts. Right. And so, he's been pitching well. I could go for it, but I think I just like some other options better.
For sure. Let's move on over to catcher again. Generally, a spot where we find the cheapest play and kind of move around. Looking at your playbook today, where are we targeting our catcher position?
Yeah, if I'm paying up, I'm living on the higher end. I'm probably just going to Yanner Diaz. He's dropped down a little bit in price again, and obviously there's a reason he hasn't been hitting like crazy well, but he's still such a good hitter. And I really like this Astros lineup today against Ross Stripling. Ross Stripling has just been so hittable. He has not been pitching well this season, and so yeah, if I'm paying up like only 4,000 for that good of a hitter in this matchup, yeah.
Yeah, Stripling with a 15% strikeout rate on the year is not going to get that done today against Houston, most likely. I certainly don't mind that play. Always willing to go with Connor Wong because he just hits in the top half of the Red Sox lineup.
Yeah.
There, let's see, where's the other values if you're looking at this? Gary Sanchez homered the last time they faced Pittsburgh and Keller. He's $3,200 there.
If you want to go really cheap, I like Yasmani Grandal.
Sure.
You think, obviously he's a just career hitter. Like, dude is a good hitter. And so if he's still in that lineup today, again, decent matchup. I don't love the Pirates, but like 2,700 for Yasmani Grandal could easily return some value.
Yeah, that's a good call there. And again, we'll get the full lineup out as these lineups become official. You'll be able to kind of target and identify some cheaper catcher options here for the slate. Angelo saying he likes Elias Diaz there. Elias Diaz up at $4,300 on this one. So if you want to go up there and get some Rockies on the road, yeah, you could. Not
4,300 out of Coors just seems a bit much for me. If it was in Coors, sure, but like it seems a lot to pay for Elias Diaz outside of Coors.
Moving on over to first base here. We don't know the Ohtani status quite yet, but you got Freeman against Hicks at $5,800, Harper against Minaya at $55. Josh Naylor, someone you and I are both high on today at $5,400. Is that where we're plugging in at first today?
Yeah, if I'm going up on this high end, I'm probably going Josh Naylor. Obviously, if you want to stack some Dodgers, like that's never a wrong answer. But Josh Naylor has just been awesome, and I think this is a pretty good matchup. Lorenzen's a decent pitcher, but he's not scary. And this Guardians offense just continues to produce, and Josh Naylor has just been a beast.
Yeah, I wrote up Josh Naylor again in the pick'em articles here today. I will say, now Michael Lorenzen's only had 5 starts, so super small sample size. Lefties are hitting 111 against him. Righties are absolutely mashing. Now, I don't think that's a long-term split advantage for Lorenzen this season. Willing to bet on Josh Naylor. Lorenzen's got like a 4.8 walks per 9. So like there's going to be men on base, and I would expect Naylor to be able to deliver here today. But I was very surprised when I clicked on the lefty splits to see that the lefties just are not getting on base against him. Now, again, I think it was 40 at bats or something like that, but so not a huge sample size. But yeah, the lefty's just not touching him, right? He's doing a whole lot of work against Michael Lorenzen, but I'm still buying in to Josh Naylor here today for sure. Where else are you going when we work our way down, maybe 5K and below?
Yeah, in this middle area, I actually really like Jake Cronenworth. He's someone who like is kind of boring. Like he doesn't have the big power or speed or anything like that. Like he's batting third in this Padres lineup facing Dakota Hudson, which sure, even outside of Coors, like facing Dakota Hudson as Rockies is pretty good for an offense. And Cronenworth has it over 1,000 OPS over the last 14 games. Like he's just producing. He has 4 homers as well over that stretch. Like he actually is getting some power. But even without the power, like if he keeps hitting well, batting third in that Padres lineup in a good matchup is, I think, a good way to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. They obviously gave him that big contract a couple of years ago. Was one of the better prospects in baseball for a while, coming on up. And sometimes these guys are late bloomers. You're seeing the OPS, you're seeing the power start to come through there for Cronenworth. Definitely don't hate that one. Working our way down, I'm good with going Rhys Hoskins. He's super hot right now.
Yeah.
Again, I am not a fan of Keller on the road in this spot. Milwaukee, one of the best hitting teams against right-handed pitching in baseball right now. $4,300 for him there. Anybody else for you as we work our way through?
In agreement with the Hoskins and liking the Brewers. If I'm going to go like cheaper, I'm probably just going to go back to that Astros lineup and throw like a John Singleton, who's super cheap. And has been in that lineup and actually hitting decently just because I want to get more exposure to Ross Stripling.
Yeah, for sure. The power coming around for him as well. We know hit that ball on like the third deck today.
Yeah.
Where are you with Carpenter here? Assuming he's back in the lineup, he led off yesterday. He's just $2,500.
Yeah, I mean, that's super cheap. So, like I said, I talked about Soriano being a good cheap play, but obviously he's not someone that's like scary either. And Cardinals are not at a place where I'm like, I want to stack a bunch of Cardinals, even if I am playing Matt Carpenter.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
get a one-off spend down, right?
Exactly. Like he's super cheap and we know that he can produce. So, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I saw him at the top of their lineup yesterday, and I was like, he's 2,500. We're just gonna hit that button. And then Dom Smith, just the courtesy Red Sox play, has been terrible, but
no, I even batting sick for a minute there. I was like, yeah, Dom Smith, like he's so cheap. Surely he'll do something. But
yeah, probably not.
Lost at the plate.
Probably not. Second base here. I know you mentioned you're in on Houston, so Altuve's up there. Semien, Albies gets the lefty matchup against Shota at $5,300. Jimenez and Marte round out your 5K tier.
Yeah, normally all over Albies against a lefty, but not when it's Imanaga. He's just been so good that like I don't think I want to go after the Braves against Imanaga just because he's been pitching so incredibly well. If I'm going at the top end, obviously Altuve is a good option. I love the Astros lineup, so I love a big stack of them. But if I have to pick someone, I'm going with Marcus Semien. He's just been fantastic. He's got 13 hits over his last 6 games, which is kind of insane. Now, sure, that was against Oakland and Colorado, like in Coors Field. So he should have a lot of hits. Yeah. But like he's just producing like crazy right now. And Tanner Bybee has not looked good over his last 2 starts. He's given up 10 runs in 9 innings over his last 2 starts. And that was against the Angels and Tigers. So, like, if he can't figure something out, this Rangers offense could destroy him. So I like Semien up at the top.
I like Terang as well. Again, I think we're going to be in on some Brewers today against Keller, $4,800. If you wanted to go there. Luis Urias has a second base eligibility at $4,500. Massey, as we've talked about, is starting to cool down, gets the Kirby spot. Nico Horner was someone I wrote up in yesterday's playbook. Leading off, he's 4K. He stole another bag, 3 walks. He is not a 4K hitter. He is way more valuable than that. So you're getting him at a discount. Now it's just up against Reynaldo Lopez. If you're a believer in Lopez, maybe you shy away. But otherwise, great price tag here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Reynaldo Lopez is a solid pitcher, but I'm not like scared of him the same way I'm like scared of Imanaga. And so, now that the weather has cleared up, absolutely, this is a cheap way to get Nico Horner, who has just been awesome.
Yep, I'm with you there. Any other value, guys, for you? Luis Garcia's $3,800. Could go there. Nolan Gorman's down here. What are you? Abraham Toro has been really good still. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, a lot of these middle guys I don't love because, like, even Toro, but he hits the lefties better. Polanco's been pretty bad. I like Luis Garcia Jr., but again, avoiding that game because of weather. Sure. So, if I'm coming down here, I'm probably just gonna like save a little extra money and take a chance on like Gavin Lux. Sure. And obviously he has not been great, but I do think he's going to continue to keep hitting better. Like, there's the one thing Gavin Lux has always done coming up is that he could hit. And so I think that's still going to come to fruition here in the majors. And so getting to get a chance to like take him and do a wraparound stack even with the Dodgers potentially. But even if not, I think he provides some value here.
Sure. King of Smack mentioned Whit Merrifield. Merrifield did lead off yesterday. Obviously Trey Turner's bsean hurt. $3,200 gets Sean Manaea. Manaea is another guy. You'll go look at his Fangraphs page, just screaming some eventual regression there for Sean Manaea. Would you give Whit Merrifield a look?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't believe in Manaea much at all. And so Phillies have been like really easy to go after for a while now because they've been so good. So obviously Whit Merrifield doesn't provide the upside as a lot of those other guys in the Phillies lineup, but like steady production, you can get out there and produce and even, get a stolen base, drive in some runs. Absolutely.
Sure. Anybody else for you at value second base?
No, I think that's about it for me. Obviously, I've been kind of going after the Vaughn Grissom as someone as well who just keeps coming in cheap and in the heart of that lineup, but like he still just hasn't done anything yet. And Eflin is a good pitcher. I don't know if I want to go back there yet.
That's fair. Move on over to third base. Jose Ramirez this year against Lorenzen at $6K. You got Alec Bohm versus the lefty and Sean Manaea at $5,600. Muncie's up to $52. You kind of need a homer or bust there with him. Devers $5K rounds up your top 4.
Yeah, I'm probably just going with Jose Ramirez. Like, if I want to live at the top, like pay the extra and take Jose Ramirez, who I think is just the better option of all these guys. He's just been awesome. I like the Guardians lineup here against Lorenzen. And Bohm and Muncy have been super in on, but their price has skyrocketed now.
Yeah.
So like they've kind of priced me out. Whereas like I still love them both. I think they'll both produce, but I liked it a whole lot better when I was getting them at like 4,500.
I was gonna say, yeah, when they were 46 and 42, not 56 and 52, we were a little bit more interested there. Manny Machado's 49 in that range. Christopher Morel, if you're not in on Lopez, at 44. I didn't find a ton when I was going through it this morning down here. You could also play Matt Carpenter at third base today at $2,500, which I thought maybe was the direction to go. Where are you looking when it comes to the rest of the third base position?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't love, especially this middle, a whole lot. I felt like there wasn't a ton of third base options. Like, I'm willing to take a shot on even like Alex Bregman. I know he's been so bad and he's like even dropping down in the lineup, but like if I'm doing it with an Astros stack, like he's just so cheap now that against Ross Stripling, I think like maybe there's some value. I also would go back to Josh Smith here. He should be getting the start against Tanner Bybee. If you're also going with some of those other Rangers bats like I've talked about, I think he's a good option. And I also kind of like Jeimer Candelario here. Off to a really slow start to the season, but he's kind of picked it up lately and someone that we know can hit well, and he hits lefties really well. So even though like I talked about being in on Jordan Montgomery, Candelario is the one bat pretty much from Cincinnati that intrigues me today because he does hit lefties well, and he is just so cheap.
Sure. Our guy in the chat here wants to know our thoughts on Kevin Newman. Where's his price at here? Is he even at third base, or is he a second shortstop? So we didn't get the shortstop yet. We'll get the shortstop here in a moment for you. I know you mentioned Tucker earlier. Hit on that. Edmund Sosa, third base. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I do like Edmund Sosa actually as a super cheap option. Again, love the Phillies lineup, and he's in there every day, kind of filling in for Trey Turner, and he's been producing. Like he's actually getting hits, and I don't know how long it will last. He's, I think, more of a defense first kind of guy, but in that good of a lineup, as long as you can keep getting some hits, like you can return value.
Yeah, for sure. Good value call out there, 100%. Moving on over to shortstop here. Again, Mookie Betts, Bobby Witt, Ellie, up over 6K. If you want to target any of them, we certainly won't sit here and fight you on any of those decisions today. I'm just going in on Willy Adames. Again, the at-home versus righty splits. The numbers are just legit there again this season. Also like Jeremy Pena at $4,400 against Ross Stripling in the mid-tier. Didn't find myself spinning up at short, but what are you feeling like today?
Yeah, with you on Adames, I really like the Brewers against Mitch Keller. Don't believe in Mitch Keller at all. I think this is going to be a rough spot for him. Obviously, like he has talent, he can get strikeouts, but the only reason I'm avoiding like Adames and going a little farther down is because you get O'Neal Cruz for $200 cheaper, and he has righted the ship. Like after a kind of rough start, and it was looking disappointing. He's got 4 homers over his last 8 games. And all of a sudden, like his season numbers are looking not too bad. And we know that when he starts hitting well, like he has the level to be as good as the other Cruz and Ellie. Like he's got the talent. So now that he's like getting those homers, we've seen those multi-hit games, like this price could start to jump up real quick. And so Willie's still 4,500 in a decent matchup here. I really like O'Neal Cruz's talent.
Yeah, and I won't fight you on that. The strikeout rate down to 32%. Hopefully we'll keep working our way down there on the strikeout rate. But one of the reasons why I moved up to third in the FSGA league is because O'Neal Cruz is figuring it out a little bit for us here. So I like that call. Definitely in on the Colin Rays. Nothing too special there. Mentioned Pena. Going down to some value, you can go Nico Horner down here as well. And of course, Newman was there, the value call out. What are your thoughts on Newman against Ashcraft? He's going to be in the lineup today against Ashcraft there?
I'd assume he's probably going to be in the lineup. I don't know if I love it. I think, he's a lot better against lefties. So even if he is in the lineup, like he's hitting under 200 against right-handers. So I just don't think I see the value there really with him.
Yeah, I think for me, for value, I looked at Zach Nato again against the lefty. That lineup for the Angels is certainly a little iffy. When they're throwing Kevin Pillar out there in the cleanup spot, you're wondering, is this a representative major league lineup half the time now that they have no Renifo, no Drury, no Trout, like they're just dealing with some injuries there. But against left-handed pitching, Nato still 458 batting average on the year. So I mean, like, no power, 080 ISO, but 540 slug, 440 WOBA against lefty. So happy to go with Nato there at $3,200. Justin, we talked Sosa at third base, but he has the dual positional eligibility. Can plug him in at short as well for $2,800. Both of those guys are in.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think, Angels lineup is rough, but like Nato and like Joe Adele, those two guys, like they're hitting.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right. Joe Adele. I was going to talk about him in the outfield. King of Smack mentioning Max Schumann here. Again, a guy that's like slowly starting to hit because the rest of the A's lineup is starting to hit. If you're stacking A's today against Spencer Arrighetti, that's fine. The cover of the morning show was Brent Rooker. I mean, Rooker's at $4K. I like that price for him. So if you want to go stack some Oakland, I definitely think you can go there. Justin, third base. We talked Sosa. We talked Matt Carpenter as well as some value plays. We had some third base call outs you can catch on the rewind there, or you're in our Discord all the time. You can just ask and check it out, and we'll get you there. All right, moving along to the outfield. Where are you looking to spend up today?
I'm spending up at Kyle Tucker. I know I keep talking this Astros lineup against Ross Stripling, but Kyle Tucker is now the sole leader in home runs in the major leagues. He is unreal. The weird thing is he doesn't have a hit in May that's not a home run.
Right.
Like he's batting 176 in May, but every single hit has been a homer, so it's over 1,000 OPS and like still almost a 350 OBP. So like, I just think even with the low average, like it's because they're not pitching to him, and when they do, he's hitting it out of the park. Yeah. So like I'm all in on Kyle Tucker here. Of like, your only risk of him not getting a bunch of value is just because they walk him every time. But if they do that, they have to face Yordan Alvarez. So like you can't always do that.
One of the reasons I'm in on Kyle Tucker today as well, again, have him in my underdog picks, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, is you look at these strikeout numbers, right? 2 strikeouts in 3 of the last 4 games. Ross Stripling ain't striking anybody out. No. So, like, I would imagine there's better chances for contact here for Kyle Tucker in this game. Or like you mentioned, they're going to put him on base with a free pass, and maybe he'll score 2 runs to hit the over. But the power is certainly going to be there. If he gets 2 strikeouts against Ross Stripling, might be the only 2 strikeouts Stripling gets today. So, I don't see that happening. I'm 100% in on with you that one. Working our way down, I like Yelich against Keller. I also don't mind Corbin Carroll coming back around here for Arizona at 5K. What are your thoughts as we work our way through the lower 5K tier and upper 4K range?
Definitely Christian Yelich. He's been in my lineup like pretty much every day since he's been back from the IL, because he still remains to be like kind of cheap. Like the price is creeping up. He's now over 5,000 at least, but it still seems like too low for how. Yeah, exactly. He's crushing the ball, and I think this is good matchup for them. So really love Yelich. I think. I lost my train of thought. I had someone in my brain.
I mentioned Corbin Carroll at 5K against Graham Ashcraft. Again, maybe seeing some signs of life out of him there. Was your guy in the 4Ks?
I totally like. Down a little farther, I guess there's some guys in the lower 4,000s that I like. Some of the middle is a little rough. Lourdes Gurriel has still been kind of terrible. Yeah. Nimmo against the lefty, like he hits lefties decently, but I don't really want to go with him against Christopher Sanchez. When I can just go down a little farther and take like Jock Peterson against Graham Ashcraft. Mm-hmm. Peterson's been hitting super well. Don't trust Ashcraft a whole lot. Obviously, like if it was in Cincinnati, he'd be even better. But even in Arizona, like Jock Peterson provides such good power. I think Evan Carter's going to be in the lineup, and if so, I like him against Tanner Bybee as well.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Nick Castellanos at 4,200? Finally starting to break through. The last like 6 games, he's hitting 350 with 1,000 OPS. The power's been there. He's a notorious guy against lefties, and small sample size for BVP, but he owns Sean Manaea. It was like 5 for 8 with 2 homers and a double. So if you're a BVP truther, even in a limited sample size, Castellanos has that covered for you at 4K. I mentioned Brent Rooker's $4,000 as well. If you're chasing some of the power, Justin, thoughts on Jake Bauers here also at 4K?
Yeah, Jake Bauers, I could totally see going for there. Like I said, really like this Brewers lineup, and you got the lefty-righty matchup, and he's been producing. Obviously, you see that homer, couple extra base hits the next day. So absolutely think that Jake Bauers is a pretty decent play. Also around that 4K range, I like Jerks and Profar. Sure. He continues to just, we keep talking him up a lot, I think, because he's just been producing so much, and just like the Padres lineup there today.
Yep. Weiler Rayu hitting second is kind of interesting. You know, obviously the lefty bat for him against Eflin at $4,000 in that range as well. King is maxing. We got to play Eddie Rosario while he stays hot. Where's Rosario's price tag these days? He is
2,600. It's nothing. I'm still just worried about the weather of this game, though. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to play at all. Like It looks bad. All
right. Well, you guys got to pay attention then. Make sure you're tuning in to the weather. I'm going to do a quick refresh here, see what we got on the latest. Our guy Kevin Roth, right, does the fantasy weather report, trusted industry weatherman. His latest outlooks on that game. Showers and thunderstorms in the area. Having a hard time timing it out. Better chance before lock to get a bigger understanding. So super risky if you're playing Nationals White Sox here today. You got to be glued to your phones and updates and seeing where they might be going with that game there today. We mentioned Joe Adell earlier. I like him. I think he was $3,500. If you wanted to take a shot on him against Liberatore, $3,500. The day's 34. If you like our guy Beasley, needs a lot of runs in Oakland, Houston. Blade hitting in the middle of the Oakland lineup. If you're doing a little stack there, Houston, Oakland, you can get some exposure there. Anybody else for you in the value tier?
I also like another Padres hitter here, Jackson Merrill. He hits yesterday. I think he comes in so cheap here against Dakota Hudson. I think that's a pretty good option. JD Martinez
too. That's kind of crazy.
What was that?
2 stolen bases for Jackson Merrill yesterday as well.
Yeah, he's got the value. I think JD Martinez, I don't really love the Mets against Christopher Sanchez, but this just seems crazy cheap for JD Martinez. Like
a guy that once had I think he had a 1,200 OPS for the year against lefties and like a 400 ISO back in the day. Like you just pasted lefties for a whole season. So
exactly. I'm probably not taking any other Mets like in this, but as a one-off for that cheap, he just provides good power potential.
Yeah, don't mind Leotis there. This guy's saying spring showers won't last long. We're the ones just reading the weather report, man. We're not the ones doing the predictions. He's saying he's potentially a little worried about the rain, so we'll get a better idea of what's going on there. I got nothing else. For value, you can obviously chase some of these guys if they're in the lineups, but any true punts for you today?
I'll just highlight my very last Astros bat of the day and Joey Loperfido.
Sure.
He's still 2,500 and lefty against Ross Stripling. He's got 2 hits in 2 of the last 3 games. So we're starting to see the bat come around a little bit. So he still has pretty good upside. I like him.
Okay. Let's see if there's any other lineups that got updated, but nothing much there. All right, let's build a lineup then. Where are we starting things today?
Oof, man, that's a good question. Well, let's see. I guess on the pitching side here, I don't know if I still want to live at the top end. I'm
fine going double mid tier if you liked going like a Crawford Sanchez or something like that.
Yeah, I really like that. I think my pick for the mid tier would be Cutter Crawford. And I'd say I let you pick the second mid tier if you want.
All right, we'll plug Sanchez in. Catcher for you today. You mentioned Yanier Diaz at 4K. We can run that out.
I think if I really am between Yanier Diaz or punting and going all the way down to Yasmani Grandal.
You know what? Let's do Grandal first, and if we have money, we can move because I kind of like that call as well.
I like having the money, not paying for catcher. It's always
$4,400 at first base.
Ooh, nice. Like I said, Cronenworth's kind of my guy today, but I also, first base is just so deep. There's so many options you can go. That I also, if we want to pay up and take a Josh Naylor, we both were big fans of Josh Naylor.
Yeah, I kind of liked the Naylor one there. And we talked about Carpenter at third. I don't know if we have an official lineup for the Cardinals. We don't yet, but that at least gives us
guarding him though.
A ton more money to at least play with. If we went there at third, what did you want to do at second? 45, almost 4,600 position, by the way. So we definitely have some money to play with here.
Yeah, like I really like Simeon, but I also would like some money at other positions. That I kind of like the Terang play at 4,800, and I think that some Brewers exposure is good here.
Trying to see if we have a Cardinals lineup yet. I don't see it. Guy in chat said Carpenter not tonight, but I don't see a Cardinals lineup yet. So if you guys got a link to a Cardinals lineup, let me know, and I'll take a peek whether or not he's in or out or not. But 2,500 can't fight it if he is playing today. What did you say for your second base pick there?
Oh, I'd said Bryce Terang. I think could be a decent option. Obviously, Simeon's my favorite, but I just think having some money at some of the other positions, like in the outfield, is so nice that
yeah. All right, you liked O'Neal Cruz, you said 45.
Yes. I could.
Right.
Yeah. Again, you could twist my arm into Adames if you wanted to stack it with Terang, but O'Neal Cruz is my guy today.
We got Tucker in. That's definitely your one play for sure. So we got 3,750. So we can do a value in a mid tier. We can do a couple of value plays down here. What are you thinking as we work our way into some value outfield today? You said Low Perfido. No, not in the lineup today.
Sad day.
So we'll have to work our way through that. Yeah, not playing today. They're going double catcher. Diaz at DH, Carantini at catcher today. Singleton at first.
So. Okay. Well, we could go with Joe Adell.
Okay, Adell works.
He's been crushing.
Joe Adell. And that's 4K. I guess that's Rooker on the dot. So,
yeah, go Rooker.
There we go. Example lineup for everybody here today. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Dom, you're blowing it all up. Appreciate having you in here, man. If you guys haven't already hit the like button, it's a free way to support what we do here on the Fantasy Lime Show. We go live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We also record the night before to get a preview show out for all of you. So you have a full day to get our initial takes before we go live each and every day. We do football and basketball shows here on the channel as well. So we appreciate all of your support. If you guys have any questions, get in our Discord again right now. You can get a discount on your first month. You go to fantasystorm.com/win. Use promo code Let's Go. You can also go annually, save 40% off the month-to-month cost when you go and sign up with our annual package. You get access to our premium Discord and our rostership percentages and playbook. We'll have that rostership update right after today's show. So be on the lookout for that in the Discord. Henry, thanks for having on today. You guys will obviously be able to catch us tomorrow. Until then, everybody, good luck with your lineup builds, and we'll catch you later.